Yeah.
Hi everyone. Yeah, today we have Shivam with us, a fellow co-founder, and let us hear about him, the journey of the teaser company. Hi Shivam, how are you doing?
Doing very well, man. Hope you're doing good as well.
Yes. Take us through. Yeah, when did you start with the teaser company, and why, and what was the story behind it, and why do you think?
Yes. Yeah, sure. I'm an engineer on paper, passed out in from Betspilani, Goa campus,
Mhm.
in 2013, and I always had a thing for, a creative thing for myself. Was always exploring it during college days, and had a passion for advertising almost since childhood. I could memorize jingles even before I could memorize my first poem. That was the kind of affinity I had.
Hmm.
It was a very obvious decision when I was figuring out what to do after college, and I know I had to do something purposeful after engineering. I got into advertising, and I worked for a lot of network agencies. Got a chance to work for some nice bigger brands like McDonald's, Nestle,
Cool.
Honda, Michelin. When I was doing that, I always, while there was a creative side of mine I was exploring, I always thought that, um, I would want to do something of my own because somewhere or the other, when you're writing for the larger brands,
Hmm.
you feel that, a lot of things are said in a certain way, and, the degree of freedom is
Yeah,
compromised.
yeah.
So I founded the teaser company with my co-founder, um, with an intent to not just do creative work, but also creatives that convert, and the impact can be seen in real time. Something I was missing when I was working for larger advertising agencies. So the idea was simple. We wanted to bring content and media, creative and analytics under the same roof and help do content that converts. That was the understanding and the vision. And performance marketing and D2C just happened at the right time, aligned with our vision. And then we went, fortunately got a chance to work with 500 plus D2C brands so far, and some household names have been a part of our portfolio.
Cool.
So enjoying the journey so far. It's been around 6.5 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, I would see that. What
Yeah.
is the main pillar service if you say that teaser company is good at?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we are very much about D2C growth via effective and high converting ads. That was our original vision to do content that converts, and D2C happened at the right time. Um,
Right.
and when we were doing creatives, like we wanted to see the conversion in real time, and we had this idea that we would work on content at the point of purchase. So
Right.
performance marketing just happened naturally, and fortunately and ironically, over the last, let's say some couple of years, the narrative has completely shifted towards content in performance marketing. It's
Yeah.
all about the right ads, the right content. But when we started, performance marketing agencies were essentially very analytical in media, left
More
side
on
of brain.
numbers. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
that wasn't the case at that point in time. But when we started, we thought that we would work on that vision.
yeah, yeah. Now I think Shivam, both content and performance goes hand in hand.
Absolutely.
I think there was a time where only numbers were taken, like for the ROI, and at a point of time there is only creative which was acting well in the market. But now I feel both content and numbers are playing well together, rather than
Yes. Yes.
just focusing on a single, analytic. I Through your content, I see you talk a lot about CAC rising versus build LTV.
Yeah.
I feel most brands look at LTV, but they sit on optimizing for CAC. Why
Yeah.
does
Yeah. Yeah.
gap exist? Why do you feel
Wow.
that?
That's so true, man. That's so true. See, the thing is that most of the D2C brands and the marketing teams I've worked with, um, they do not develop a strong eye for, analyzing their data. They don't look at their data from as many angles as they should. What happens is that, a lot of times they're solving for acquisition when they should solve for retention. Gradually, the retention is coming down and down every month. And you are pushing your performance marketing team to solve it, solve it, solve it. You have failed to realize that how many new customers are acquired, over the months when your ROAS was slipping down.
Right.
So it is a very, it's just that the volumes in acquisition are very high in the early stages that you tend to ignore retention.
Right.
But originally, you should definitely focus as much on retention as you should on acquisition, if not more even at certain stages.
Right.
So whenever I would suggest, whenever the ROAS or the ROAS is falling down, the CAC is going up, you should look at new customer acquisition and try to analyze where did you lose that? Was that an abandoned checkout sequence that was not working? Did you not do an offer at a seasonal level? Or
Hmm.
maybe your win back coupon wasn't firing at the right time. You should study such things.
Right. Right. Hmm. What does that brand actually builds LTV do differently in their creatives?
Yeah, yeah. So I think more than creators for LTV, your strategy should be very good. You should understand that, what are your recycles rate and hit the customers with the right, right message at the right time.
Right.
Like the customer journey should be woven in a way that, you're getting the right reminders and not just always about sales, but also, nurturing a relationship because new age D2C brands are very much, um, like the, let's say Gen Z or today, or how the customers are evolving in the D2C space, they would want to build a strong, brand affinity and brand loyalty, and they're
Right.
happy to pay a premium. So you try to D2C gives you the leverage to actually own your customer and
Right.
own that relationship. So you build that connection with them, try to engage with the community of purchasers and try to drive that repeat. So sense of belongingness, you maybe, there's a D2C brand you like and you purchase from, you must be having a sense of belonging or
Yeah.
some kind
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
emotional thing to it. So that's how you should look at communication when it comes to, driving LTVs.
A lot of recent D2C brands which have grown well, like if you say Minimalist or SuperU or you know,
Hmm.
if you go to Comet, now there is Desi. There is
Hmm.
always a story around the brand. That's why,
Yeah.
that is, and Blue Orange as well.
Hmm.
You know, I think they have cracked that brand storytelling. What is your
Hmm.
view in that? What is that particular thing that they have cracked in the last 5 years targeting Gen Z markets in India and,
Hmm.
cracking that numbers of, $10 million revenues?
Yeah, 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 man. See, definitely very youthful brands, the ones you mentioned.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
most
the,
of them, anyways.
just
Yeah.
give me a second. The reason why I took out these brands are because these are the ones who have grown uh, drastically for over last 5 years in
Yes.
India, targeting Indian Gen Z audience. So I particularly wanted to talk about this niche and maybe someone who wants to start a D2C category is someone who is inspired by these brands as well, categorically. So
Absolutely.
what would
Absolutely.
you say that they have cracked what algorithm they have cracked?
Yeah, yeah. See, I would say, I mean, most of the D2C founders in the early stage I have met, and I'm like nothing against anyone, but a lot of times they have a wrong notion about building a brand.
Hmm.
Um, Wrong notion as in look like you would want to look at revenue. Yes, you should look at revenue from day one, no harm in that, but you
Yeah.
should always try to find out the product market fit first,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
willing to invest your time and energy and also money into it to figure out that whether a market exists or not. Because
Not yet.
if you look at Comet, if you look at SuperU, there's a clear market that existed, and
Exactly.
they identified to discover the product market fit. Sneakers are no longer in the higher range now, but when at a certain point it was, uh, you
Hmm.
know, uh, all these Jordans, Nike, and all that.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was, um, so-called affordable for the youth, right?
Hmm.
And that's how this market was created, and it just blew up. Similarly, for Super Youth, they were very clear here, कि matlab, we don't want to, on the one hand, the whole truth is always talking about the ingredients, the health. Super Youth was always about taste. Wafers is a very nostalgic taste. If you could infuse protein in it and
Hmm.
sell it as protein wafers, it wasn't existing. Now there are, but it had also always had the first entry advantage.
Right.
So when you have that kind of advantage and you're willing to test the market to discover whether or not you have a product market fit, and once you have it, you just keep on blowing the trumpet that I have a product market fit. I know that now I want to I know my TG more and more, and I will look to continue to build and engage with them similar in a similar fashion. So
Right.
that's what it boils down to mostly. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. I always had this question, while I was working with my own clients,
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
retention a marketing problem or a product problem?
Yeah, very good question, man. I mean, definitely very good question. Um, a bit of both, I would say. A bit of both, I would say. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
definitely, I believe product. I think advertising for everything, advertising and marketing, product is central to it. But
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, seriously, it's 99% product sometimes, I think, and 1% advertising.
exactly.
So that is what I mean. Your question makes me wonder that, product has to come first. But a lot of times, good products lose out on, a product market fit because of lack of a good and comprehensive marketing funnel and structure. Yeah.
But I think there is a saturation for any product. If you say a brand has increased its sales from zero to a million, let's say, through
Hmm.
sales,
Hmm.
then they feel that their sales are not growing, then they change their agency or like their consultant and look to go above that mark of revenue.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
don't you feel that they have, uh, hit the point of saturation of the product market fit they have in the market?
Hmm.
Now, even though they go out anywhere in the world, is there a chance of them to increasing that? When is that reality going to hit them that they've hit that mark? Because I see a lot of brands struggling there. Exactly. They see a certain kind of revenue, then they
Hmm.
look for more of it, and they keep hopping everywhere in the world. How
Yeah,
do you
yeah,
take that?
absolutely. See, I mean, definitely it's a very typical problem for a lot of brands to kind of, keep hopping on without, actually realizing where the problem lies,
Exactly.
right? And that's a very, very common problem. I'm sure you have also come across, I've also come across.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
But the
I think,
reality, it doesn't hit them so as early because I've seen a lot of brands hopping around for like 2 to 3 years and losing the whole market.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be very clear. So, for example, one thing about good brands is that they're very clear with their vision and their TG from day one.
Hmm.
Right. You
Hmm.
cannot see if once you have hit the saturation, market saturations or a category saturation levels. For
Hmm.
example, there was a client of ours who understood that, stevia as a market only has a limited market size, out of which it has captured to the best of its potential. Then it switched to some other category,
Hmm.
which is 101% fine. But the problem is when you are continuously without not taking informed decisions about category, about your TG. You don't have an informed decision to make, and then you are just hopping around with the hope of adding numbers. That is not something that is, you will only lose yourself actually as a brand
Right.
if you
Exactly.
go that path. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, why I wanted to put this on the record is if someone is, hopping around like this, they might hit this point that, yeah, this might something that I've hit this point of saturation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And also, Shivam, I feel with AI generated content, do you think it is going to take over the human creative agencies or what? Because I see the AI creative are giving more traction than the general organic content which we used to rely on.
Yeah, I mean, like, very good question again. I think AI definitely helps strengthen your workforce, as in, helps sort of add the volume and the power to the engine of your creative workforce.
Mm,
So I don't think that certain things like at least advertising, which is creativity so central to it, is going to be replaced by AI overnight.
mm,
Definitely design, edit content, very big opportunity for AI to take up to 90% of what the manual workforce was doing. But there's a bigger there's a bigger human psyche problems that every marketer has to solve and has to look at, um, which is very contextual and psychological in a lot of ways. So, a creative evangelist or a psychologist or an analyst who look just like how we started the call, just who is used to looking at numbers in different ways and marrying
Hmm.
it to the strategy. That is
Hmm.
something that will remain central to good marketers anyway. What it will do is AI will do is take away the redundant work, that the factory kind of work that was happening in marketing,
It only
and
make
maybe
things
make it
better. Yeah.
yeah, more efficient. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Uh, I can see that you have worked with 500 plus brands.
yeah.
I curiously want to know what is the success formula you have seen in a D2C brand
Hmm,
that can, any category that can scale you if someone who wants to get into this space. Your,
hmm,
input with your experience in this
hmm,
market.
hmm. Um, can we? I mean, can we? Are we talking about a specific category or any zero stage brand, right?
Any stage fan, maybe a founder mindset it would be, maybe a product quality it would be, or anything that is, that has taken a D2C brand. I think you have seen and compared a lot of brands. What is that success formula is my question for a brand.
See, the first is definitely clear proposition. Clear proposition will help you understand your TG very clearly, look at that very clearly, and then have it in mind that I have this idea of a product and whether it is product market fit or not. So
Hmm.
it's as simple as that. A lot of you don't want to, unless you are cracked the supply chain or a very big reason to believe in a commoditized product.
Mm-hmm.
I won't. I mean, like a very commoditized product, like, um, something like, let's say a dal or a very generic kind
Yeah.
of, let's say, razor, let's say, right?
Hmm.
Or an appliance, let's say, is not very D2C friendly because right now, D2C may you are, competing with a lot of brands and it's a
Right.
cluttered space mostly. So, you need to have a very clear point of differentiation against in the category you are.
Right.
Secondly, the understanding the point of differentiation, the proposition will help you identify the TG well enough and have the idea of a product market fit. Second, I think very importantly is also the founder persistence. A lot of time founders,
Burnout.
tend to give up or like you say hop on to from one thing to another or don't have the right ideas in their head, can't find the right partners to work with to begin with, so clarity in their mind and the perseverance to keep on going. And because see, D2C the first 2 years can be a struggle, can be a lot of pain, and having that persistence, managing everything efficiently and cruising through it is not everyone's game. So that is also something I feel a good D2C brand founder is always able to do.
Right. I
Yeah.
have a, very, I think, a question to get out the exact answer. If you want to start a D2C brand right now with
Hmm.
all your experience in the market,
Yeah.
which is the category you would pick up and enter into the market? What is the roadmap are you going to plan for it?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question, I would say. Um,
I mean, this is the way I think I can get the best answer.
no, definitely there are categories that seem to be, um,
Because you have seen the numbers, you have seen the categories behind, and you know what is working, what is not. So,
yeah,
what do
yeah,
you
yeah.
think that something can work out in the next 5 years if you are starting out as a D2C founder?
See, I would see there are two ways about it. One, I feel that I would want to do something in kids wear or kids care because that is something, I mean, as a new father I would be very fond of, and like I said, the founder energy shouldn't die away, and it won't die away if I were to found a brand. Secondly, of course, is a supporting argument that I've seen the kids care or a kids larger kids category growing very very well. We have come of ages where we would only trust as a generation just the Johnson and Johnsons of the world. Now we are open as a generation to new brands and trusting new brands for our babies. And those two reasons enough for me to believe that I would want to found, although I don't have it planned yet. Yeah.
uh, in three, I mean, uh, what is the most AI layers are you adding in your workflows, Shivam, as an agency founder, or are you or proposing it to your clients? What
Hmm.
are the AI layers are you asking them to add for, get things better?
See, definitely in reporting and in creative iteration and basically automating the workflows. We
Hmm.
are definitely adding a lot of creative layers. So if I have to break it down very broadly, creative iterations. Once you have a winner strategy, you should know have the AI workflows to produce 10 creatives with minimal human intervention. You have the winner strategy. You understood that yeah, this is the proposition that is working. This is a winner messaging. Now I should be able to have a master creative and its 10 iterations being generated quickly via AI.
Right.
That is one. Which is creative volume largely. Second is, all the, and it goes for all the service companies there, that, your internal and external workflows should be automated as much as you can.
Yeah.
Whether it is sending the meeting minutes or it's, sending the reports on an automatic basis with the right insights.
Right.
These things take a lot of time away from your team and make it efficient. If you have the basic
Yeah.
workflows, like, the basics automated basically.
Right.
Yeah.
I would call personalization at scale that we can achieve through AI right now. Giving the right answers at right point of time to the clients we have.
Yeah, very good, insight there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Personalization at scale. Wow. Hmm.
Yeah. So, and another question I get a lot is
Hmm.
that I am starting my D2C brand. So now I have 10 lakh rupees budget with me.
Hmm.
So where am I going to spend my first 10 lakh rupees on?
See, I would say if you're obviously there's supply chain and brand to take care of.
Yeah, the
Um,
product is ready. I'm only talking about the marketing side.
yeah, then it should be definitely performance marketing. I have a lot of reason to believe that. Not that you should not invest into brands straight away, but
Hmm.
get to the product market fit stage. Once you
Right.
know that for this much money you can get the purchase and this is your customer, then invest into brand building and everything.
Take the
Just
feedback first.
create,
Yeah.
sorry.
Take the
Yeah.
feedback first from your first customers. Do
Yes, absolutely.
marketing. Then you get to know your product is working or not. Then you can
Yes,
rely on your brand, which is very expensive than
absolutely.
performance marketing.
Absolutely. That's the way to go. That's the way
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah. I think we have answered that question to them. Another
go.
one, being a marketeer, which is that one book or like a person that changed. How do you think about marketing?
See, I've grown up idolizing the likes of Prasoon Joshi, Piyush Pandey. These guys, were veterans
Hmm.
and always knew how to trigger trigger emotions, whether as a customer or a these guys were fantastic writers also, so they
I
could
know.
trigger. I mean, Prasoon Joshi is a great lyric writer also. So largely, they knew how to trigger emotions.
Hmm.
Um, that is one. Secondly, yeah, I mean, like my fundamentals of, I was a copywriter to begin with, and my fundamentals of copywriting were sharpened by a book called Hey Whipple Squeeze This, which a lot of people in this, I mean, currently ha may not have read, but
I
it
never
was
heard about it.
yeah. You should look for it. I mean, if you want to see, my fundamentals of copywriting were sharpened by two books. One was the copy book, and the
Hmm.
second is Hey Whipple Squeeze This.
Nice.
So I mean, I just feel these were very important in my entire journey as a in marketing basically.
Right. Right. And also, Shivam, is there any underrated channel or a platform that D2C brands ignore except from performance marketing in the market right now?
See, most of the channels that are give you a buck for your money are already out there. But yeah, definitely there are a lot of niche marketplaces depending on the category you are in that are worth exploring. And sometimes, as something as um, unusual or unorthodox as a
You never
newspaper
know. Yeah,
insert,
yeah,
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 yeah.
can
But
work. So
you
unless you
have to
try,
keep exploring it.
yes, you have to keep exploring, understand. It comes down to understanding your TG man at the end of
Right,
the day.
right,
If
right,
you know them so much that you know what they would be doing at this point in time, any given point in time, you would know the right channel.
right. And coming to the teaser company, what are you looking at it like 10 years from now? Where do you want to keep it? And as a founder, not just as a marketeer, what's your what's your vision for it?
See, for the next, I have not thought about the next 10 years. For the next 5 years is definitely going to be AIification.
Right.
Very, very strongly, we have, there are a few announcements lined up how we are going to function as an agency now. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of very deep AI integration is happening in terms of, creative volumes I just spoke about. And yeah, I mean, like, keep
Right.
following for more updates. I cannot share all the updates right now, but
Yeah.
very soon a lot of announcements are coming up. Yeah.
Right. I also want to add a thing here that I think let me introduce myself to you right now. So
Yeah.
basically, I was running a marketing agency called Wittelsback
Hmm.
for the last 5 years.
Hmm.
Now we have pivoted it to a SaaS tool. It's called Wittelsback.ai.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
So whatever the pain points that we were talking about, the creative intelligence and the numbers and analytics, we
Hmm.
are trying to bring down them at a single space
Hmm.
where once you attach your Shopify or your Meta dashboard with us, we give you a dashboard called Revenue Leak Dashboard, where we are trying to show you, is it through your creative intelligence or is it through your numbers? Is it your CAC? Is it your CPC? It is your LTV, and give you
Hmm.
a whole set of report for your campaigns for your brand. And also, not only that, we are trying to build an agentic model where we are trying to optimize the campaigns 24 by 7. If there is a hurt in the campaign, we are trying to fix it and bring down the
Correct.
loss. So this is a model which we are building, and we are in the urge of the launch, and we have launched the beta version called the revenue leak dashboard, where you can check your revenue leaks for your brand.
Wow,
Or
man, sounds fantastic. Why don't you share it with me?
sure, for sure, I'll share
Yeah,
it with
yeah,
you. And a person like you with a lot of experience in the D2C space can give us a lot of feedback and inputs on how we can make it better.
absolutely. Would love to, man. Would love to. I will
Yeah,
try it for our brands, and
for sure.
sounds like a very, very interesting insight. I would
Yes,
love to
yes.
try it for our
I mean,
brands.
this
Yeah,
is something which we have pivoted, seeing the problem that what we have spoken till now
yeah.
is the pain points I wanted to solve through this at a single space.
Lovely,
Yes,
lovely.
yes, man, yes. And also, I think after this 28 minutes, I got to know I think you're a man of few words and more of actions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, like, that's true. That's 100% true about. I mean, very
Yeah,
sharp observation. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
very
I
sharp
got that.
observation.
I got that. I thought all these questions might take a lot of time, but you have answered it quick and straight and point.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, man. And I think the podcast was very on point, more like a one-on-one, like not like an informal podcast, but I think,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I think
yeah.
that's what I was mentioning because we were in the same layer. It's hit on hit questions. Like,
Yes,
you
yes,
know, I,
absolutely.
I think whatever problem I was asking is the industry problem, not my problem.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
So I wanted to address that with you, and thanks for your time, Shivam. And I'll be in touch with you. And uh, I think Whittlesback.ai can help you and the brands make things better, is what I would feel. And I would also, give a shout out to you because I feel that you guys are doing good with teaser company, and you know, will help brands grow. That's all I can say.
Absolutely, man. Let's. I really hope so, and all the best for the tool. I can't wait to try it for our
Thank you,
brands.
man.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'll see you
thanks.
soon. Bye.
Same. Bye. Yeah.